How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is the remake or other adaptation of the Charlie and Chocolate Factory novel, this time directed by Tim Burton and stars Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, as well as Freddie Highmore, David Kelly, Helena Bonham Carter, and Christopher Lee. And this is kind of similar to the plot of the 1971 film, but with some significant differences. So, Charlie Bucket, a poor boy, is one of the five kids who gets a golden ticket and is given the opportunity to visit Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and the opportunity to win a lifetime supply of chocolate and other amazing stuff. And we come across Willy Wonka. The most significant difference in this film is they revisit Wonka's backstory some more. I have a feeling that's going to be very different when the 2023 Wonka movie comes out later this week. But yeah, that's also the reason why I'm reviewing this movie. Wonka's coming out very soon, and I reviewed the 1971 film, so I figure why not go back and revisit the 2005 film? Because this was the movie that got me into Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I saw this movie in theaters when it first came out, and while I liked it, I never loved it. And then I discovered the 1971 film, and I fell in love with that movie. And I've seen this one a few times throughout the years, and I've always liked it, but haven't loved it. And it's been a while since I've revisited this movie, so I revisited the movie, rewatched it, and I will say, as far as remakes go, this is definitely one of the better ones, especially from Tim Burton, because we know after this, Tim Burton went back and did a remake of Alice in Wonderland or a sequel to Alice in Wonderland, but in live action. He did Dark Shadows. He then did Dumbo. And those movies were the definition of mixed bags to not good movies. Whereas Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I would say, is still a good movie. In fact, this is a very well made movie for the most part. There's a lot of great special effect work, a lot of great practical effect work. For example, the chocolate river in this movie. Tim Burton really wanted to go for an actual chocolate river, and he managed to pull it off. Also, instead of the golden geeses, we got the squirrels cracking the nuts to see if it's a good nut or a bad nut. And he used a combination of animatronics, CGI, and some live squirrels. So, from a filmmaking standpoint, this movie is top notch. The chocolate factory looks incredible. The different places they go in the chocolate factory looks incredible. The stuff they do with the glass elevator looks great. Right? It's very well made. However, I have to state the obvious that the 1971 film, I think, is a lot more superior. And it's kind of interesting that Tim Burton did this project because he said he wasn't a huge fan of the 1971 film. He called it sappy. And Gene Wilder wasn't a big fan of what Tim Burton did either, even though he liked Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka and thought that was a perfect casting choice. And I'll get more into Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka as we go through here. But I felt like this is the definition of Tim Burton's tone being thrown into a movie. Now, this isn't like Batman Returns. This isn't Sweeney Todd or Sleepy Hollow where Tim Burton's tone takes over. And I like those movies a lot. But it definitely has a more bleak, not as colorful full kind of film as the 1971 movie. It definitely doesn't have the humor that the 1971 movie has, but I will say I did find myself laughing more times rewatching it than I did the last few times I've seen this movie. So there is still humor in this movie. It's just not as common throughout the movie. I will definitely say they did a very good job casting these kids because these kids come across as a lot more bratty and horrible than the 1971 film, especially Mike TV. Oh my goodness, that kid's a little monster in this movie. Like he was harmless in the 1971 film, and here he's a dreadful, awful kid. I can totally see him trying to become an internet celebrity and failing miserably. But yeah, the kids are definitely a lot more antagonistic this time around. The songs, I will say, while I prefer the Oompa Loompa songs from the 1971 film, I still like the ones in here. My favorite one is the one with Mike TV. I think that one went a lot more hardcore. It's a weird thing to say for a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. As far as the casting goes, Freddie Highmore as Charlie, I thought it was a very good choice. He did a very good performance in this movie, especially at a young age. And this is before he played Norman Bates in the Bates Motel series. David Kelly as Grandpa Joe, pretty good job as well. Grandpa Joe is not a bad guy in this movie. For anyone that's probably wondering that never saw this, Helena Bonham Carter. Sorry if I botched up that name. Before she was known for playing Bellatrix Lestrange in the Harry Potter movies, she played Charlie's mom. She did a very good job. They give more for the other grandparents to do in this movie. They get more dialogue in this movie. Also, Charlie's father is still around, but they still managed to show why the family's poor because he's been in and out of work and then he is let go from his toothpaste job. Now, as far as the casting of Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, now I'm a huge fan of Johnny Depp as an actor. He always gives a great performance. I thought he was fine as Willy Wonka. He does come across as cringy at times, a bit socially awkward. And I think if maybe they had just written Willy Wonka better in this movie, Johnny Depp really could have hit it out of the ballpark. But I still think for what he was given, he still did pretty good. And he still has some funny quips in here, particularly when he's interacting with the bratty children. The one significant difference that this movie does is it explores Wonka's backstory. It shows what Willy Wonka was like as a kid, his relationship with his father, who is played by Christopher Lee, and how like he ran away from home, how he discovered the Oompa Loompas, what it was like working in the chocolate factory before he shut it down due to Slugworth and all the spies trying to take all his stuff. I like how they explored that. I thought it was a very good job of doing it. And they make a significant difference with Wonka. So in the original film, you had that storyline that he hired someone to play Slugworth to, try to bribe the kids and see if the kids would be loyal. In here, that's not there. There is a scene with the everlasting gobstoppers, but he doesn't give it to anyone. Basically, what happens is Charlie wins the contest without any problem. No fizzy lifting drinks, none of that. But Willy Wonka will not let Charlie's family move in. And Charlie in this movie, he's very loyal to his family. At one point, he considers selling the golden ticket for money until one of his grandfathers tells him, "There's so much money in the world. There's only 5 golden tickets. Take this opportunity." So Charlie chooses to stay with his family instead of going back to the chocolate factory with Willy Wonka. And things get better for his family, but things are going sour for Wonka. And Charlie helps Wonka reconnect with his father, and it's a heartfelt moment. And I like that significant difference because I don't want like a whole complete like remake of the 1971 film. I had the 1971 film. I like that this movie does something significantly different. Now, I never read the 1964 book based on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so I don't know if some of these changes that they made from the 1971 film are in the original book. If they are, let me know in the comments down below. One day I got to read the book to fully understand like the differences between this and the movies. But yeah, I feel like the issue here is even though this is top-notch filmmaking, the tone, it just feels like Tim Burton just implemented his tone. But this is tame Tim Burton compared to Batman Returns. Like, remember that film was more of a Tim Burton movie than a Batman movie. And as far as like the stuff that he's remade, this is better than a lot of that stuff that he's done, like Dark Shadows and Alice in Wonderland and Dumbo. And I've grown to appreciate this movie a lot more because it felt like Tim Burton at least put the effort in. Maybe this is why Tim Burton had kind of dropped off in the 2010s. No one appreciated the effort that he put into making this movie. But overall, with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think the acting is pretty good for the most part. I think Gene Wilder is a better Willy Wonka, but the Chocolate Factory looks great. The songs are still pretty good, not as good as the original. The differences that they do with this movie, like exploring Wonka's backstory, I thought were handled very well. And overall, I think this is one of the better remakes, not just made by Tim Burton, but just in general. I think this is a remake that should get more appreciation and credit. And overall, I'm going to give Charlie and the Chocolate Factory a B plus. I was kind of torn between a B and a B plus, but revisiting this movie, are a lot of things that I did like in this movie, even though I don't love it as much or like it as much as the 1971 film. But yeah, those are my final thoughts on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And yeah, I guess another reason why is I know I this is about the Willy Wonka movies, but it just reminds me of a time when Tim Burton's movies were just better than they are. Hopefully, with Beetlejuice 2, Tim Burton goes back to form because I'm a huge fan of Tim Burton and I want to see great Tim Burton or at least good Tim Burton movies again. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And I got two questions. Number one, which one do you prefer more? The 1971 Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory or the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Second question is, what is one of your favorite remakes of all time? Let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share this with someone that is a huge fan of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory books and movies. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.